What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host and captain, Garrett Morlang, and here in the studio with me is...
This week, JJ Purdom.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I actually say your name. I'll say, hey, no, the studio this week is JJ Purdom, blah, blah, but the last couple of weeks, you haven't been JJ, so I just left it up to you. So it's nice to have you back, JJ.
I'm truly always me. I just don't know which one of the me's is going to show up this week, you know?
Yeah, okay. How's your week been?
You know what? It's been pretty great. I had a weekend where I got to relax and chill out, and I started singing on the worship team at church because nobody else raised their hand. And unfortunately, this week was not the greatest week for singing. I didn't get a chance to share this with you. I do not sing well with music. I don't have any classically trained ear or anything like that. So I'm winging it. Like I do with everything, you know. You know, if you watch and listen to the show. And essentially, I got stuck next to this lady who's a wonderful, wonderful person that is completely tone deaf. And when she sings like this, Amazing Grace, sweet the sound. And like, I'm right next to her and she's in my ear. And the problem is I try to mimic or copy whomever is near me. Normally, there's this other woman that I'll stand near and I cheat off of. So as she's singing and I'm like copying her and I'm trying to watch her notes and trying to like, you know, copy what she's doing.
Yeah.
But when you put somebody who's in my ear, sweet the sound, and like, all I could hear was the buzzsaw of her like diving into my, and the lady who's on the piano, wonderful woman, afterwards she goes, thank God Sunday's over. Oh, thank God it's over. It was fantastic.
It's horrible.
It was fantastic.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a pretty good week. Last week was the Game Awards, and everyone in the chat was hoping you'd stop by the stream, but...
You called this the Super Bowl of nerdness earlier
this is a
today.
Super Bowl of video games.
And you were like,
much.
where were you, JJ? You were not there to watch the Super Bowl. And I told you, I don't care for football.
Yeah, well, the problem is this wasn't football. This was video games, and there's
What?
a lot of awesome stuff, which we're going to talk about later in the show, but...
Why did you tell me? I would have been there.
I told you.
You said Super Bowl of games, and I just assumed that there was like going to be foosball.
Foosball?
Yeah.
Now it's foosball?
Well, whatever with the pigskin.
No, man. But I had a blast on the stream, though, because, I don't know, this was a stream where we had the most interaction, I think. Because every other stream we've done, it's been pretty, we have like our solid 3 that show up. We have like Toby, Chloe, and my mom.
And I heard your mom did not watch this episode because she heard I wasn't going to be here.
Yeah, no,
so
you're
that's
right.
the saddest.
They
when
did
she
not
said,
show up.
JJ not there, not going to be watching. Like that's why I heard you got that text.
That's actually true. They were not there at the stream, and that's exactly probably why.
I
like, I get to talk to Garrett all the time.
I hope that Mr. and Mrs. Morlang listen to this program or watch it. I'm sure they don't anymore. But I would love for them to like hear that and go, wait a second, seriously, Garrett? Really?
Yeah, they don't love me. They don't love me like they love you.
They do love the other boy. To your brother, that's they call him son number 1, right? And I think he's actually younger than you.
He is younger, yes.
Who calls him son number 1? Who does that?
I don't know. I don't understand it, yeah. But no, it was a blast. There was at one point, I think at peak, there was like 15 or 20 people like in the stream.
That's amazing.
And I think at most that was chatting. There was maybe only like 4 or 5, but even still, that's more than there ever has been. It was such a blast. So for all you guys who are listening and or watching, and you were there on Thursday, thanks for coming out because I had a blast. Like afterwards, I was like, yeah, I'm so pumped. Like that was so much fun. Like I wish we could do more streams and have that many people stop by again. Like, what can I do more of that? That bring people in because it was a lot of fun.
I heard
maybe I'll become a full-time streamer.
I heard you were pretty funny on your own. That you did fairly well. You carried the banner of Super Gamer Boys well.
I tried my darndest.
I'm pretty proud.
I got
of
a couple LOLs in the chat.
Nice.
A couple of them.
Where they typed them out.
Those
count.
Most of it was them laughing at me because there was a couple times. There was quite a few times at the Game Awards where they were very misleading with announcements. So like a trailer started, I'm just like, oh yeah. And then when I realized what it was, I'm like like my face of disappointment, like look of disappointment, like they're all just like laughing at me. I'm like, that's not funny.
I love your jubilation. I did hear your face. I heard your face like did the big slow grow. Here's what I'll mimic it because this is what I was told by a friend that watched the stream. I was told that Garrett's face at one point watching something cool, as he was like, it was dawning on him, was like the first time that man created fire. That his face looked like this. That it was something like one of those like super mouth wide open, like wow!
Lights from the heaven shining in my face.
That's the way they described it. Did you have one of those big reactions where?
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about it again in the news section. But
I had a few when we watched some of the trailers earlier on prepping for the show today. There was a couple of moments where Garrett looked at me and I was just
like mouth agape, just like, what did I just watch?
There was some really, really big stuff. We'll talk about it later on in the news.
Yeah. But so yeah, my last week has been pretty good because it was just like, man, Thursday set off the weekend right, So thanks for stopping by. Definitely. And if we do streams in the future, please stop by again because I need to be validated.
Yeah, I might even show up next time. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I
need to change it. I need to change it to Super Gamer Boy. I need to make a logo that's just singular.
Take an X and put it over the S at the end. Yeah.
And like scribble your face out.
That hurts.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to show up. But yeah, my week's been good.
That kind of stung a little bit, man. You know what? Speaking of faces, you could always get a cup, a mug, a mug. A mug. You can get a beautiful mug and put coffee in it, not water with a little bit of lemon like Garrett.
It's for my voice. I gotta keep I got my tea over here and my lemon water there. I gotta keep my voice nice and silky smooth for all you listeners.
I gotta tell you, it does sound kind of silky smooth coming across right now. But if you want a cup like that, you can go on and help support us. You can support us with a beautiful Super Gamer Boys mug or socks. I think we even have like toe socks now and like earrings and there's also underwear with Garrett's face on it on the front and then on the back our Super Gamer Boys logo. If you've ever wanted to have Garrett's face on your crotch on undergarments that you wear under your clothes, nobody has to see it, then you can always go on our merchandise page. Where was it again, Garrett?
Hopefully no one wants my face in their crotch. But it's supergameboys.com.
I did not go there. Just remember
that is what you said. That is what you said.
No, you kind of made it blue. I was just talking about underwear. That's what you said.
supergamerboys.com/store. Go buy anything but those underwear.
And if they do have those underwear on, and shout out to
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Oh yeah, here we go. I'm gonna tell you what. There was something very, very cool that happened on our Twitter recently.
So this was the coolest freaking thing that ever happened to us.
Literally, both of us, over one person, loving us so much that they would support us online on our merchandise store. And I got to tell you, both of us were so happy. That made my day. I know it made Garrett's.
Yeah.
And so there was a gentleman, and he'll tell you right now.
Yeah. So let's see. At Danny Silly Socks over on Twitter tweeted out at Super Gamer Boys, night shift with my new work mug and a mince pie. Thumbs up. And then he linked to our store on there. And seriously, when I saw that, I'm like,
amazing.
Is this real? Like, is this actually happening? Like, someone bought it, and it's one of those things where obviously, like, we've had friends and family buy merch, and that's one thing. Is it's like, oh, cool, my grandma bought a T-shirt with my face on it or whatever. A T-shirt, not the underwear.
Right. And this gentleman, he is not Garrett's grandma.
He's not my grandma. He's not my. Well,
he's not even my grandma.
He is my friend now.
We're super friends. We're best Super Gamer Boy friends.
So shout out to at Danny Silly Socks. But yeah, there's a picture of our mug on his desk with a mince pie. I don't know what a mince pie is.
Whatever. I want to eat a mince pie now. I'm a fat guy, and I have never had a mince pie. I would like to have it.
He's from Wales, UK. So.
Right. So more than likely, Danny Silly Socks or whatever, more than likely he talks like this, right? Drinks a lot of tea, likes video games.
Is that a Wales accent?
I don't know. It's close enough, right?
A Wales accent?
They're all pretty similar. I mean, really, honestly, they're fairly close. He's probably like sitting there going, dude, that's so hurtful. I moved here from the States a couple of years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh. No, seriously, thank you so much for supporting us.
So
and
thanks for
honestly,
supporting us.
that was the coolest thing ever when Garrett shared it with me.
I was losing my mind. I turned to my wife and I was like, someone bought our merch. That wasn't my grandma. No. Or my parents or whoever. Like, it was this crazy thing. And to think it's like, we're international, baby.
Yeah.
We are international.
We've been listened to in well over 20 countries, and we've been downloaded in a lot of different areas. But it's always cool to have a fan from another area so far away reach out. And thanks so much.
So thanks for that, because you seriously, that was another thing that just made my whole weekend. I'm like, this is the best day ever. Like, people like our crap.
Yeah, he did that on Friday, and literally all day Sunday at church, he was walking around telling everybody, "Hello, governor," doing a really bad British accent. I'm just saying, or Wales accent. Yeah, Welsh.
That's what I knew. I was like, there's a word that's not Wales. So I was like, there has to be Welsh. That's what I was looking for.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Thanks for that, JJ. Yeah. Now I feel like a complete idiot.
I knew something you didn't.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon sponsors, Bill Bird and Julie Bates, aka Grammy. If you want to get a shout out on the show like they do each and every week, go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. We have a few different tiers you can support us at there, and that helps us keep the lights on, mics on, and keep bringing you cool content. That's how we buy our games and see our movies.
Definitely. And you guys, with that support, we have been able to go and watch a lot of movies and be able to buy some cool games.
Guess what? This weekend, I'm seeing the new Star Wars movie.
Sweet.
I'm so freaking excited.
Do you mean you mean we?
So Trudy,
we are going to see the Trudy. You didn't like that stuff.
No. What I was saying is Trudy and I this last weekend started watching through episode we're not going through the entire Star Wars series. We're just doing episode 7, and we're going to do episode 8 probably sometime before the end of the week to kind of like catch up on the story, like kind of like recap everything.
But I thought we had made a plan that we were going to go watch it together. I actually thought we had said it on the air on the show.
Here's the deal. Okay. You've only watched like 2 Star Wars movies. So
yeah, but it was 2 of the good ones.
You watch episode 1.
And I watched 9 or something, or 12. I don't remember.
No, 9's the one that's coming out.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I watched.
You watch episode 1, which is like arguably one of the worst ones.
And then I got dragged into seeing The Last Jedi.
I think you've watched maybe episode 4, which is probably one of the best ones. So you've watched the best and the worst of Star Wars at this point.
Yeah, I watched 4 when I was a kid.
Yeah. So you need to watch 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you'll be good to go.
So we're actually...
And Rogue One and Solo.
We're
so
actually... Yeah, I know. I got a lot of them. I actually... That is the plan. We've got the plan is to watch now with the advent of having Disney Plus.
They're all on there.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Except for Solo and The Last Jedi, but they're on Netflix.
The Last Jedi is on Netflix, right? And that's just the contract is not up on that.
Which I think at the end of this month, both those will be coming. But well, we've been dilly-dallying long enough.
We're really good at dilly-dallying.
What if we get into some nerdy nudes?
It's time for the nerdy nudes.
Alrighty, guys. So we don't have much. That's why we're kind of just jibber-jabbering here at the beginning.
I thought we just jibber-jabber every week anyway.
We do, but not usually for 16 minutes.
Did you talk that? Wow.
I mean, that's what the timer says. I'm sure once I edit out all the racist stuff you say at the beginning, it'll probably only be like 10 minutes. But
I would say it was more misogynistic.
No, yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay. So the first news story this week, there's a new BioShock game announced being developed by new 2K studio Cloud Chamber. So this is one that came out, I think it was literally like last Monday after we recorded. I'm like, dang it. Like it happens every time. We record, I jump on Twitter. I'm like, oh, there's so much good stuff we could have talked about. But here we are. New BioShock game was announced last week. 2K announced that they have a newly formed internal studio called Cloud Chamber. This article is by Jonathan Dornbush over at IGN. 2K came out and said, don't expect this game in the near future. It's a new studio with locations in both Novato, California, and Montreal, Quebec, headed by Kelly Gilmore, who's worked at 2K's Firaxis Games for nearly 2 decades in various capacities on Sid Meier's Civilization and XCOM. According to 2K's announcement, the next BioShock will be in development for the next several years. 2K has not officially announced any platforms nor targeted release date for this new BioShock. And then it goes on to talk more and more. They tried to, basically they've been emailing back and forth with BioShock to try to, or 2K to try to get more information out of them about this game, and they're not budging. So They said it's the next iteration in the BioShock franchise. They would not confirm or deny whether it was going to be a sequel or a reboot, what it's going to be. But yeah, this is huge news. The last BioShock game we got was BioShock Infinite, and that was March 26th of 2013. So it was literally the spring before we got the PS4 and Xbox One. So it's this was an Xbox 360 and PS3 game. So we have not had a current gen, game, BioShock game on PS4, Xbox One.
Were you a fan of the BioShock series?
So I loved the first one. I played the first one. So the original ones were Xbox exclusives. You could only play them on 360. So I just so happened at that point in my life, I was on that 360 train. I didn't have a PS3 at the beginning of the generation. So I got to play it. And dude, that game was so stinking good. Like, it has the best like tone to it. It's very like dark, but like very, I don't know. This is like really cool like themes and tones and story points that they hit, and like very interesting really commentary on just corporations and just stuff like that. I don't know. It's hard to explain just on a whim here, but I just always loved like the darker. It was very, as far as like genre, it was like a first person. It wasn't a shooter game though. Like there was guns involved, but you didn't really shoot a lot. Like the purpose wasn't to shoot a lot. You had like these special abilities. You can use melee weapons, wrenches, stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird to like put it in a genre if I had to. It'd be hard to maybe just like an action adventure type game or something. But it had such an amazing story. Like it just threw you for a loop like halfway through. Like you thought you knew what was going on, and then it's like, oh shoot, like they totally flipped the script on you. So the story is amazing. Which you have a 360, you really need to pick up BioShock.
Well, here's to hoping that it's a new game.
Well, and then they also, I just remember they have the remaster versions for PS4, so that's something else you could pick up too. So if you wanted to play the original ones on PS4, slightly better graphics. They didn't remake it; it's just like a upgraded.
Just upgraded and remastered them.
Yeah. So the first one was amazing. A lot of people hate on the second one. I really enjoyed the second one, because it had some weird story things that were just different. I think it was actually made by. There's a couple different people on the production team that changed it. And then BioShock Infinite, that was a game that I rented. So back in the day when you could do that and it wasn't through Redbox, I rented it from a Family Video. I didn't have it long enough to beat it, basically. I played a bunch of it. I enjoyed it. Didn't get to beat it. So it's honestly a game I'd love to buy now. It's probably dirt cheap and finish that one day. But the BioShock franchise as a whole is great. It's always very like, I don't know, very interesting like social commentary and stuff, and like underlying in the story, or not even like underlying. It's very prominent in everything that you're doing. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. So it has me stoked for a sequel. I can't wait.
I'm kind of tripping out that you would rent it from Family Video. Yeah, I used to work at a place called Family Video. I think every town has a Family Video, right?
Well, it's like a franchise. Yeah, we had one in Wisconsin, and then we had one in New York where I was. Like, yeah. I was
working there in the late '90s, in '99, and I remember the owner coming to me and saying, "All right, look, we just bought 10 of these new DVD things, so we're going to put these things out, but I don't think they're going to last.
They're not going to last.
They're not going to last." He did not believe they were going to last. And
that's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is our first little news piece there. Get hyped for new BioShock coming. Another, I guess, kind of important part of this news story is it's not going to have a lot of the original. Like Ken Levine is not coming back, which he was kind of the head creative director in the original ones. Like people loved the Ken Levine BioShock games for what he made them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the new story, if it's going to have a similar tone or if they're going to try to change it up, because he's not a part of it. Obviously, every creative director is going to have their own, worldview lens and creative lens that they use. So that will be interesting to see.
I heard that they were actually going to be having Christopher Lloyd come in and be the creative director.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Great Scott.
Sounds good, I guess.
That's what I heard. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I never fact checked that. But.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, next on the docket here, everything announced. This is from IGN again. Everything announced in the December 10th PlayStation State of Play. So we talked about it last episode, but last Tuesday there was a State of Play. We gave some predictions. We said we think there's going to be a Resident Evil 3 trailer or announcement, and then there's going to be a Ghost of Tsushima trailer announcement. They were both correct. So boom, we're 2 for 2. We are basically professional games journalists at this point.
We know what we're doing. Wait, Gary, we know what we're doing?
We're real good at pretending.
Yes, we are.
So here's just real quick some of the headlines that came from that State of Play. The Untitled Goose Game is officially coming to PS4 on December 17th. That is what it, people lost their minds over that game. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see when it comes to PS4 if it gets equal as amount of hype. Spellbreak's a new game coming out. It's a magic-based battle royale that closed beta on PS4 in spring 2020. Dreams is officially coming out of early access and will be for purchase February 14th for full release at that point. That'll be pretty cool. Superliminal. This is one I showed JJ a trailer of. There's no release date at this point, but it's a really cool game that really messes with perspectives and optical illusions and stuff like that.
It's crazy. You're looking at going down hallways and flipping up all over the place. It's optical illusions playing with your mind, man. I want to get it. It looks awesome, and apparently it's coming on a PS4. So yeah. I'm gonna be.
It messes with your mind where you pick up the phone and it's a normal size phone, and then you lift it up in the air and or bring it closer to your face and look up in the sky, and then when you drop it, it's actually not the size of the phone. All of a sudden, it's 300 feet wide or something.
Right.
It takes up the entire room. It's all about messing with perspectives and moving things around to figure out puzzles to get to the next room, basically. Paper Beast is a new VR game that looks really weird. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC will be coming January 23rd. This is another way for Square Enix to make another $30 off of you for a game they didn't finish last spring. Predator Hunting Grounds finally got a release date. Get hyped. Same people who made a Friday the 13th game.
It looks awesome.
Is making the Predator Hunting Grounds, so it's going to be 5v1 kind of thing. One person plays a predator, the other people play as these soldiers. And it looks really freaking good.
It looks like an updated version of Friday the 13th. It's so nice. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
Predator
a predator
is
skin
amazing.
On it, yeah. That's coming April 24th, so I'm really excited. If you pre-order it, you get the exclusive 87 Predator skin. So you get the skin, Predator from the movie, the original movie, and then early access to the old painless minigun. That's the one that they mow down the jungle with, right? In the first one, he's brrr, mows all the trees down. That's such a good movie. I want to watch that again. And then Babylon's Fall, a new Platinum game in collaboration with Square Enix. Resident Evil 3. So this is the big one. Resident Evil 3 wasn't announced, like I said. We got that right. But the way they did it was so stinking cool. So JJ didn't watch it, so that's why I'm talking a lot here, because he didn't really watch the stuff.
I possibly could have.
But they started out and it shows, here's more information on the Project Resistance single-player campaign. And so it...
Okay, I didn't watch this anyway, and this for the first time ever. I'm going to go take a poop break. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. So the... I can say anything I want. JJ's gone. He just left the studio. So yeah, it starts up Project Resistance. It's going to be, we're going to show more on the single player campaign. Basically what happens is it starts with a trailer showing some zombies, clips from the Resident Evil 2 game a little bit, and then it changes to first person mode, and it's someone running down hallways, running away from Mr. X. Suddenly they bust through their door, the camera turns at a certain angle, the person turns around, and you realize it's Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 3. This whole time, Project Resistance was the multiplayer mode included in Resident Evil 3. It is not a separate game. It is all in one. So it is freaking insane.
Sorry, false alarm. It was actually just a fart.
Okay, good.
I'm so sorry.
Jeez.
I apologize to you, the listening and viewing audience. But at least you can't smell anything.
I can't believe you. At least you did in the other room. At least you did it in the fart room.
You know what?
We do have a fart room here.
There was a part of me. There was a very, very small juvenile part of me that did think, why don't you just lift up your leg and let it roll?
I'm glad you didn't.
And then I thought, coming back in, how do I get off of the camera? How do I do that in a cool, suave way? I could just try honesty because they do call me Mr. Honest person.
Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah. So then they revealed that the whole time Project Resistance, because originally we all thought they were going to be two separate games.
Wait, you're telling me there's going to be a Resident Evil 3 game?
Yeah.
What the? You never tell me nothing, man.
If only you would actually keep up with the news that we talk about each and every week. Maybe you would.
I don't see you don't have a format here. I mean, how am I to know what's going on this week? I just come to work, man.
I just realized I left your notes out in the printer. We printed them out, and there they sit.
Not like I would have ever looked at them anyway, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, all this time we knew Project Resistance was coming, but all we knew that Resident Evil 3 the remake was just a rumor, and if anything, it'd probably come later. And then when they announced that, not only is Resident Evil 3 remake part of Project Resistance, like it's the same game, but it's coming April 3rd. We only have to wait like 4 months. Like, isn't that freaking crazy? 4 months. We're playing a new Resident Evil game.
I was just thinking like 4 months is a long time, but
no,
in reality, it's not that long.
Think about with Death Stranding, we knew about that game for 4 years before it finally came out. This is like, we didn't know about this game till, this last week. We only have to wait 4 months. We don't have to wait 4 years for this game.
It's pretty awesome.
Like, that's freaking awesome.
It looks a lot like Resident Evil 2 did, and you know how much
graphics wise, yeah, it's using the same engine, the same assets, so it's beautiful.
Which
it looks
is
so good.
Awesome that they were like, hey, we got this thing set up already. It's not going to be that much more work to just come up with another game,
totally.
And then we can keep milking the teats of this cash cow.
Yeah,
because that's how they do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to I know you've never been on a farm or anything like that, but
I grew up working on a farm. I know what a farm is.
This is exactly how they do it with their fingers.
Okay.
I could show you on me if you want.
No, please.
Okay.
Please don't. You made my voice kind of do something weird. No. Like, kind of, I don't know what happened there, why my voice did that.
You got very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
very
it was
quickly.
one of those, like, deep down inside. It was like a very, like, deep feeling of disgust and
there was a part of me that was kind of concerned you were going to have another seizure right now. Like, I was kind of worried about you. I'm being honest. I'm like, you gotta be careful with Garrett.
That was like the reaction, like when you scare someone, like you come around a corner real quick and they go, that's what that was. Like, no.
Yeah, it kind of did look like that. Yeah, I'm gonna not take offense to it. I understand.
I'm sorry, JJ. The last thing that was announced during State of Play was, in fact, Ghost of Tsushima. The most elusive of today's announcement, we got a brief look at Tsushima's cutscene featuring Samurai facing down with a mysterious figure. Sadly, it was cut short with a to be continued message. So that's what they did. It started in with a trailer, showed 30 seconds of a trailer, and then boom, cut the black and said to be continued. They announced that if you want to see the rest of it, you got to watch the Game Awards on Thursday night. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. So the State of Play was pretty hyped this week. I mean, even it was just with Resident Evil 3 is awesome, but then we got Predator and some of the other cool games like Superliminal and stuff.
Yeah, there was a really an awesome assortment of really different games. There, nothing that seemed to be like, well, same old. There's so many different kinds of games. They offered up a lot of different options, man. I like a smorgasbord of games. I don't like just playing the same thing over and over again, whether it's a kart racer or a fighter. Oh, that's right. No, I don't like fighters. Never mind. The brawler, what do they call it? Is it
It's a fighting game.
Fighting game. Yeah,
yeah.
Sucks.
I mean, they're all right. I'm not good at them, but I think they're fun. I really enjoyed Soul Calibur back in the day, like Soul Calibur 4 and 5. When I was at school in Wisconsin, all the guys in the dorm would come by my room and we'd play Soul Calibur for forever. And there was like a couple guys who were really good at it, and they'd start beating everyone. Like, okay, like move on, like leave the room. Like we want to play here. We want to have some fun too. Because I'm just like the button masher. Like kick.
You said that. Where was that at when you were in school?
When I was at Bible college, so I wasn't like not like high school.
You know, there was like one nun lady there who, because I'm sure there was nuns there.
No,
I'm sure there was like
did not go to a Catholic
one nun
school,
lady
not a
there
Catholic
doing that. That was like, there's constantly a whole steady stream of men going into Garrett's room over and over again all through the night. You know, doing the Holy Mary, Holy.
You're horrible.
Just something like that.
No, there's no nuns at the school.
Pretty sure you.
Not one sure nun, I promise you.
Pretty sure there is.
So let's get to the next news story here. We had the Game Awards. So you all knew about that. I talked about how much fun I had, even without JJ. And I hope you all had fun too, even without JJ, because I think we all learned something. We all learned something very valuable. JJ isn't as great as we all think he is.
No, Garrett can carry stuff.
I'm just kidding.
Like my bags when I put them down in front of him.
I just like
ask him to carry them.
Throwing you under the bus for.
No, I know you do like to do that quite a bit.
It's fun. It's fun because you make fun of me with your jokes, and then I get to just come back and tear you down as a person and a human being.
You do. And some of them scar. Some of the things you say scar.
So here are all the big announcements at the 2019 Game Awards. This is from Kotaku. That's actually the headline. All the big announcements at 2019 Game Awards. Kotaku's killing it over there. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the biggest thing at the Game Awards. The biggest, like, just boom, bomb drop, like atomic bomb right at the beginning. And to be honest, so here's my quick review of the Game Awards on Thursday. Started out crazy strong, amazing, so much fun, loved it. The awards were great, the announcements were great, and then like halfway through, it started kind of like, oh, this is getting kind of a little boring a little bit. And then like 2/3 of the way through, it's like, oh boy, okay, this is getting a little long. And then like by the end, I was definitely ready to like, okay, this needs to be over soon. And then they ended it with the worst announcement ever. So they kind of ended on like a really like flat note. But they started freaking strong with out of completely nowhere, like out of left field with no like heads up at all. Microsoft unveiled the name of the next Xbox. That's right. The new console that we've all known as Project Scarlet that's coming holiday 2020. Microsoft was just like, hey, why not just tell everyone in the entire world what the next console is going to be called? On the frickin' Game Awards, it's streamed all over the world on, hundreds, thousands, millions of people watching this thing.
So it is the Xbox 2 VX.
Oh, almost. That sounds pretty close to what it's called. So in an article that was actually just put up today, I don't have the article pulled up, but I read the headline. The new console is technically just called Xbox. So
Xbox.
So when someone, asks like, oh, what console do you have? You just say, oh, Xbox. I have the Xbox. But the difference is there's going to be different models of the Xbox. Similar. I mean, that's the way it is now technically. But right now there's Xbox One X and Xbox One S and blah, 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 blah. Well, the idea is like, oh, they'll all be called, in the next generation, they're all going to be called Xboxes, but there's going to be different models like the Series X. So that's what they announced at the Game Awards is the Xbox Series X, kind of that's that model or edition. And I'm not going to lie, I think it looks pretty awesome. I
think it's smart because they're basically banking off of the name Xbox. Instead of trying to create something else, you already have the name. So they're simplifying everything with going with the series. And this is the same thing, like you said, this is what they do with cars. You get, a Lincoln Town Car series, whatever. And so this one might have roll-up windows, whereas the other one has the old crank stop. Yeah. I don't think you have to say it like that when you say crank stop. So, but I think this is a great idea. Xbox is just capitalizing on having a great name. And let's talk about the commercial, Garrett, because you showed this to me.
This is what blew your mind earlier.
This literally almost melted 1/3 of my brain. And if that had happened,
there wouldn't have been any brain left.
There wouldn't have been anything left because that's pretty much all I have. No, honestly, this commercial was amazing because when you showed it to me, just like you didn't know that this was Xbox saying, hey, this is going to be the new console. So I'm thinking, like, is this a game? the way that the commercial lays out, and I implore anybody who's watching this to please, if you haven't already, go and watch it because it really is awesome.
It's a beautiful, beautiful hype trailer. Like, go give it a watch. It's
immensely.
amazing.
It talks about, imagine being able to live 75 years in one night's rest of sleep. Yeah. So you can live, in these dreams.
It's like this whole speech. It sounds like some old speech. I don't know. It sounds like something from like the 40s or 50s or something. Sure. And it's like about like talking about like power and innovation and dreaming and using like going beyond your mind.
Imagine how far you could push if you knew you were okay. Imagine what worlds you could conquer.
If you could control your dreams, and imagine if your dreams were out of your control, but with so much power and all this stuff. It's like inspirational.
It's amazing. Like, it was super, super hyped. I could have probably won the Super Bowl right then. Tackled all kinds of fools at that moment watching the thing, and then they announced that it's the Xbox. And so when the new Xbox Series X shows up on the screen, it is big. I'm not going to lie. It looks like a computer tower, dude. Yeah. It's big.
So they, based off of like the size of the controller and stuff, there's been other websites that have been doing kind of like mock-ups of it, like out of cardboard and stuff. Like they're able to like, okay, we know, because they have the picture that they show is the console tower, or the console, which is vertical. It is not short and skinny and flat. It is very much like, it looks like a rectangular kind of cube, like a tall cube. I don't know what you call that. I don't know why. I can't think of the word for a 3D rectangle. I guess it's cube, right?
Rectangle?
No, because a rectangle is 2D. What's the 3D term for? This is geometry, isn't it? I should know this. I know I shouldn't. I haven't done geometry in 10 years. Anyways.
You're asking the wrong guy about math, Garrett.
It's a tall cube. I'm just going to call it a tall cube.
I hope there's one like super smart mathematician who likes video games who's like, oh my gosh, boys, what's wrong with you guys? Who doesn't know this stuff? It's an integer or whatever. I don't know.
An integer.
I don't know what that is either.
Numbers.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. The boy constantly brings me like math things, and he's like, Dad, what's this integer? And I'm like, I don't know. You think your mother smokes pot? I don't know. Go ask her. I don't know how that.
So it is a tall cube, but in the picture, and then there's a controller leaning up against the side of it.
My wife does not smoke pot, by the way, because I will get told about that later.
Even if she does, it's legal here. Who cares?
No. I know it is California. There's anything wrong with that. But I do think that like she would be like, okay, but you never cleared the joke up. So I think people think that I'm token now. Not there's anything wrong with
based off the picture, they were able to do mock-ups out of cardboard of how big it would be, and it's really not that bad. Like, you look at it, it's about 3 controllers tall. So a controller is what, like 4 or 5 inches? So it's like a little over a foot tall. But they have said that you can turn it on its side.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be standing up. Obviously, it looks friggin'
giant standing up, but
no, I was going to say it looks amazing. I think it looks so cool.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Like, it looks really, really pretty and really, really cool standing up. But it's like, it would not fit in my entertainment console.
No, it does. But that's the whole thing, is that consoles basically are made to be able to fit into all these different TV stands and stuff. So the standing up thing like that is going to be really hard for most traditional, TV stands.
But they did not announce any more specs or anything, but we know a lot already. We've talked about it in previous episodes about some of the new specs that are going to be in the console. But the idea, though, is like if this is the Series X, then most likely there's going to be the lower power, like that Lockhart edition we talked about, I think just last week or 2 weeks ago, where it was like the lower powered one. So maybe they'll call it like the Series S or something. And it might be a little smaller, maybe it'll look a little different, be a little different shape or something. But because that's the idea, is like they'll all be technically Xbox, quote unquote, but there's going to be different series that look different and do different things.
I'll tell you Xbox people out there, all you fans of Xbox, a lot of our listeners love to play Xbox for some reason.
A lot of them. I don't know why you listen to our show. We hate it so much.
I'm going to tell you, watching this commercial, this was by far the very best hype commercial I've ever seen for a new console.
For a launch trailer.
Any kind of launch, anything. It honestly was amazing. And it makes somebody like me, who's a full-on Sony pony, go, man, there might be something on that Xbox only because of that commercial. And that's crazy. I know that's my mind playing with me. They knocked it out of the park.
No, 100%. Yeah, when I saw this trailer, that was the first thought through my mind. I'm like, Am I going Xbox next?
Right?
I mean, I won't because I have way too much.
We're not dumb.
I have way too much money. No, because the PS5 is supposed to be backwards compatible.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rumors and everything. So it's like I have way too much money invested in PS4 to just like cut it loose and go over back to Xbox again. I'm like, I have way too much invested on this PlayStation side.
Look, if we were rich, we'd have obviously an Xbox room and a PlayStation room. I'm trying to convince that to the wife.
If we had more Patreon supporters, we definitely.
Right. I'm trying to convince the wife. I'm like, as soon as the kids are gone, honey, we're taking that room, we're turning that into the Xbox room. The other room's going to be my PlayStation room.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, she doesn't agree.
Yeah. But yeah, this super awesome trailer. Go check it out. And yeah, it's exciting. So the new Xbox, you can check it out, see what it looks like. The controller's even kind of updated a little bit. There's like a new share button on there. Similar to the PlayStation has a share button. And then also the D-pad looks more like the one from the Elite controller, I think. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, you Xbox nerds out there. And right after, so they had this hype Xbox Series X trailer. They drop, here is the first Xbox Series X game, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. And this trailer is freaking insane. Like, not only is it just like a crazy trailer in general, like, it's just like this really intense, like, chant music, kind of like ancient. It takes place during like ancient Viking kind of times. But then, like, the graphics are crazy. It's supposed to be all in-engine footage, like recorded through an Xbox Series X.
It does not look like a video game at all.
It looks like a live action movie. Like,
it's crazy.
So go watch that trailer too. It's like creepy and kind of scary. Like, so don't watch it with like kids and stuff around, but it's like super awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
So
this
is part 2. I've never played part 1, but Garrett, you just ordered it on PC, right?
I didn't order. So it's on PC Game Pass. It's on Xbox Game Pass as well, the first one. So the first game was called Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. It was originally a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and then eventually Microsoft actually bought the studio that made it, and so it came over to Xbox. So it was only like PlayStation exclusive for a short amount of time. Came over to Xbox. Now it's on Game Pass for Xbox and PC. So go check it out if you have Game Pass. It's supposed to be an amazing, amazing, amazing game. And then this is the sequel coming out. And I mean, the first one looks beautiful. I fired it up on my computer earlier, and it looks friggin' beautiful, but nothing like this. Like, this is like live action. Like, this is like, holy crap. It looks like someone just, filmed a bunch of people out in a field or somewhere out in the mountains.
It really does look like that. It's beautiful.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. So we got the new console, one of the first games coming out for it. And then a little bit after that, we got our very first PlayStation 5 game reveal. So we still don't know what the PlayStation 5 looks like, but we got the first game, one of the first launch games coming to PS5, ever announced. So trying to remember who was it by. It was Gearbox. That's what it was. I was like, what was I going to say about the developer?
I was going to tell you
drew a blank
Gearbox. There. I didn't want to. I don't want you to feel bad.
Yeah,
so I was going to say Gearbox, but
thanks. Yeah.
I kind of stifled it a little bit. I bit it back.
So this game is being made by Gearbox and one other developer. I think they're kind of working on it together. But Gearbox, they're the ones who make the Borderlands games. Borderlands 3 that just came out. And they are basically describing this game as, so if you all know, Borderlands is called a looter shooter, where you shoot things and then you loot boxes. And it's all about getting the next loot, getting new guns, new grenades, new whatever. Well, they're calling this a slasher looter, or a looter slasher or whatever. So basically it's supposed to be a similar premise where you kill things and collect loot and get better and better gear and armor and stuff. But it's more melee focused. So it is very much like they're all wearing like, I don't know, almost looks like fantasy, but even like futuristic kind of, like a sci-fi fantasy type thing, with big like swords and like knight armor and all sorts of weird, crazy, glowy celestial beings and stuff. I don't know.
It looks really great.
It's a cool aesthetic and it looks really great. To be completely honest, I don't think graphics-wise it looks great. It looks better than anything we have now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it looked as good as
the Xbox game,
the Senua's Saga, though.
Not at all. But it's totally a different art style, and it's.
You're right. That does change it. It is a different art style.
But having said that, I agree with you, and I know where you're going with that, because in comparison between the PS5 game that we saw, this game being Godfall, And
yes,
the
I forgot to mention the name. It's called Godfall.
Yeah, this game being Godfall, and then the other game, the Hellblade 2, being that Xbox game. That is such a more visually appealing game. It is beautifully rendered, and it's just amazing. It looks realistic. This is more cartoony.
Yeah.
It's more of an animated feel. It's not going for realism.
Right.
And whereas the other one is. So I think that's where we're at.
And it makes sense story-wise, too. Like, this is, like I said, a slasher looter where you're just, like, killing things. And so, yeah, it's going to look a little cartoony.
But if you're comparing the first two games, though, too, with that look, you would look at it and go, wow, the Xbox thing looked amazing. Yeah. And it's just because the choice that they're coming out with, although it does look amazing, it's not graphically going to be so big that it's incredible.
Like I said, it still looked amazing, but it does look like
the way the light refracted off of like one of the swords, it was totally realistic. Beautiful. It was beautiful, much more beautiful than anything that we've got currently.
Yeah, so it looks great, but I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, like you were right, like this is different art style, and then also it's different gameplay too. Like this is supposed to be like a multiplayer, like you can play with your friends, co-op, and like just like you do in Borderlands, go kill things and collect loot, like a multiplayer game. Where Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is definitely story-driven single player. Like there's not going to be multiplayer in that game. Like the first one is very much a very linear story, and this one's going to be a linear story as well. So they can, similar, like it's similar to even current PS4 games. Mm-hmm. Like you go play God of War, it looks crazy amazing, but then you play something that's just has a little wider scope. Obviously, they can't focus so much on the graphics. Like there's some games that focus more on the gameplay, like Fortnite. Like Fortnite doesn't look amazing, but it's because they focus on the gameplay, which is great. So, yeah. Let's see. There's a couple other games that were announced that no one cares about.
I think literally nobody cares about it.
No, probably everyone cares about it because people were freaking out over it on Twitter, but I'm just going to be completely upfront with everyone. I've never heard of it. So Bravely Default is coming out with a sequel, Bravely Default 2. It's some old JRPG game that was an old Nintendo game, and apparently it's getting a sequel. But I was funny when that reveal happened. Like I think someone in the chat was like, "Oh yeah, that's how it looks awesome." I'm like, no idea. No, I don't know. I feel like such a loser, but I don't know that one. I'm not a nerd. So,
well,
okay. There's another trailer that I thought was really cool. This aesthetically, like I don't know how the gameplay will actually be, but just the trailer, I'm like, this is really cool. It's called Weird West. So the trailer is all like a painted, like hand drawn, hand painted, like art style.
And it's RPG style.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a top-down RPG, open world type game, but it takes place in like this Western. So I was explaining to JJ, I was like, imagine Red Dead Redemption 2, but you go like hunt werewolves and vampires and cultists and stuff. Like a very dark take on the Wild West. Like there's like weird like zombies and creatures like that. Like, it looks like a pretty sweet game.
It looks really cool. It's different. It's totally different looking.
I love the trailer because the trailer looks really cool. The art style, the music was great. I'm just like, okay, you got me intrigued. Like I'm interested for sure. It's by the co-creators of Prey and Dishonored, which are two amazing games. So I'm kind of curious to see what that is. We didn't get any information. We don't know when it's coming out or anything. We just know that it's in the making. Riot announced a couple spin-off games. From a couple League of Legends spin-off games. One is called Ruined King, a League of Legends story, and the other one is called something else, but it's not here in the article for some reason. Oh, Convergence. So they look kind of interesting. One of them is based off of a really cool storyline that they've done in the League of Legends called, it takes place in like Bilgewater, the Bilgewater event. I think it's Bilgewater. It's like a pirate event that they do every once in a while. And that game looks really cool. But they didn't show any gameplay. They just kind of showed like some of the set pieces and like what the world will look like. And I like it's like a really dark, creepy kind of like pirate shantytown kind of look. I'm like, okay, I'm all about this. Good pirate game. The only other thing, so there's two more things I think I want to talk about from the Game Awards. The first one is Brendan PlayerUnknown Green's next game is called Prologue. So this is the guy that made PUBG. hit battle royale game, the one that kind of
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds PUBG.
The one that came out before Fortnite and is
copied Fortnite
much better than
according
Fortnite.
to my son.
Yeah, of course, your son's crazy. We all know that, though.
Yes.
But he is coming out with a new game called Prologue. And the trailer is like 20, 30 seconds long. We don't know anything about the game. It just is like a camera view in the woods during a thunderstorm, that the wind's blowing, lightning is going, dogs start barking, howling. That was
Howling.
That was really hard to say. And then like you hear like voices, maybe a kid screaming or someone like you hear, and then the camera turns.
And then you realize you're in first person perspective and you're turning your head to look to one side or the other, and like there seems like somebody's gonna come up on you, and it's very intense, and then it's really like 20, 30 seconds. It's just a quick hype video, and
then it just like cuts to black. Like all of a sudden, what makes it more unsettling is like mid sound effect. Like I think someone starts to scream, like it's like
cut it off.
It's like like they don't even finish the scream, and it's just like
best.
Oh, it's so unsettling. Like it's like mid like someone screaming in the woods, and then it's like gone black. It's like, oh shoot, like this game looks intense. So I don't know what it is. I actually went to the website. You can sign up for updates right straight to your email. So I like sign me up right away. I want to know everything about this game.
Garrett gives all of his information online constantly. He's like, oh, here's my credit card. Here you go.
100%. Yeah.
He's like, I gotta know what it is.
Well, yeah, we're in the games industry now, man. We got to get all the news on the video game.
Yes, we are.
We're
international. We're selling mugs all over the world.
Around the world. And then
it was in one other country, but we have turned it into, hey, we're worldwide. Worldwide!
Mr. Worldwide right here. I think that's someone else's name. I think it's Pitbull. It's Pitbull, right?
Yeah, I think Pitbull does it.
I'm sure he doesn't have that trademarked. The last thing I want to talk about is the biggest travesty in the entire world. So this is how they ended the Game Awards. And this is what I was telling you. It ended so badly.
Okay, so I thought Garrett reached out to me afterwards, and I said, so, okay, tell me, run down some of the major talking points that we'll probably want to cover on the show. And so he shared with me this news article, and I thought, Garrett, you're kind of being a little elitist. I thought maybe he was a little high on your horse a little bit about it. But then I watched the trailer and I agreed with you 180%.
I think after we finish recording, I want to show you not just the because you saw the trailer. I want to show you the actual clip from the Game Awards because the whole interaction was horrible. So first, what happens?
That's even better.
What happens is Michelle Rodriguez, known for her role in The Fast and the Furious, comes out on stage. Everyone's like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, Michelle Rodriguez is here. She's like one of the main characters in The Fast and the Furious. Everyone loves her. It's amazing. And she's talking about stuff. And then she's like, I'm going to bring out a friend. And Vin Diesel comes out. Everyone's losing their freaking minds. Like, are you kidding me, Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel are on stage here? Oh my gosh. Vin Diesel's, his arms were real stuck like this. Like he couldn't stop flexing. It was really kind of funny. Like he was doing the whole he almost looked like he was doing it on purpose. Like his fist in his hand. And he's just like, I'm Vin Diesel, and I'm here to tell you about Well, first he starts out. He's like, oh, I just saw a 4-minute trailer for the new Fast and Furious 9 movie coming out. He's like, but I'm not here to talk about that. And everyone's like, that's all we care about. Like we don't care about anything else you have to say. But then he's like, actually, the next entry into the Fast and Furious universe is not a movie. That's right. It's canon, and it's going to be a video game. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Like right off the bat, everyone's like worried because licensed games aren't usually good. Like there's not a great track record of games based off of movie
usually
and TV
crap.
franchise. Yeah. There's a few rare exceptions.
Yeah, there's
but
exceptions.
For the most part, not great. So
Aladdin, back in the 90s on the Super Nintendo, Aladdin and the Lion King were things that were licensed out that ended up being fantastic games. So it happens.
Hard as heck games, but yeah.
Very hard. But like it happens to where, sometimes they'll sell a license and something really good comes out of it. This was not one of those times.
So everyone's like, okay, buckle up. They were buckling up their seatbelts, getting ready for this trailer. You like what I did there?
Oh, you took motors.
Yeah, because cars.
Oh, I got that. That was good.
Because of cars.
I pick up your button down. Oh, my God.
And the trailer starts, and immediately And if you go back, so if you go to supergamerboys.com/YouTube, I uploaded the entire live stream of me reacting to the Game Awards. So if you want to watch me react to stupid stuff and blankly stare into the camera at a TV for 3 hours, you can do that. Or you can just jump ahead to the part where they do this reveal. And it's literally within moments, it's like, oh no, this looks so bad. Like, this is not good. Like, it literally looks like an early like PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 game. Like, the graphics aren't good. Like, there's a few things that look good. Like, oh, wow, that car looks really good. And then you're like, ooh, but that building in the background is not great. Or like the dust like looks like fake. We're at a point now in video games where like there's pretty basic things you should be able to like make look realistic. Like, we're so late in the PlayStation 4 generation. A lot of these things are like, oh, it's just like click and drag, right? Like you like everything's pretty much, that's not true. Like, I know game development's a lot harder, but these are things that like most games are just like the standard. And so like when a car's drifting around a corner and there's like the dust cloud looks like, ooh, why is that rendered all funny? Like, it doesn't look good. Or
explosions that don't look real.
It just looks like an orange circle. It didn't look like fire. It's just like flashes of orange circles. I'm like,
so bad.
Oh no. There was one point where the tractor trailer tips over and there's no physics to it at all. Like, when you think of a tractor trailer flipping over, like that's something very like visceral and like intense. Like, the truck goes over and then maybe the trailer gets twisted and rips and then flips. And
this was literally like turning and then the box went over on its side.
It looked like someone took a Hot Wheel car and just went wham. This is on its side. It's like, oh no, what is happening here? Like, there's no damage. There's no dust cloud. There's no explosion. It's just like over on its side. Like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing
here. I like
the
sound effect you threw in there.
I should recut the trailer with just that fart
noise
at random points. Like when the gun is, because there's one point where like a minigun's firing.
I could imagine one person watching that and literally going, I don't know why, but that fart noise really went well when the trailer went over on his side. It seemed to fit perfectly, like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, so that's how they ended the Game Awards, is with that announcement of a new Fast and Furious Crossroads, it's called, coming to the PlayStation 4. There's no date on this website here, but I feel like I think they said summer of next year, which is crazy. Like, that means they're just a few months out. Like, usually by this point, if they're a few months out from releasing it, they should be like pretty well into the polishing phase by this point. I'm like, this game doesn't look polished at all.
No.
Oh, the other thing, the character models, like Vin Diesel's face looks like he got hit by a semi-truck. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
it looks like it looks like that semi-truck ran into his face and then flipped over. Like, that's what happened. Like, man, it's so bad.
All the facial features, the way that their faces move, eyes, all of that stuff.
Like the lips not lining up with the words and stuff. I'm like, what is this?
It honestly looks like a PS2 or PS3 rendering. It's bad. It's really bad.
So that was the last announcement of the Game Awards, and then Vin Diesel's like, and I'm here to give you guys all the announcement. I can't do a Vin Diesel impression.
No, it doesn't sound anything like Vin Diesel, but I wanted you to keep going.
When I was talking to you on the phone the other day, I did a really good one, but I can't remember what I did. But yeah, basically he came out and he's like, I'm also going to announce the game of the year for this year. Because at this point, it's like that was the last award to be given out. And he opens up the card and we're all like, Death Stranding or Resident Evil 2, Death Stranding or Resident Evil 2. And he reads it, and it was one of those moments in my life where I'm like, no, he misread that. Like, he just pulled a Steve Harvey, huh?
Yeah.
Like, he must have read like the runner-up and really someone else won.
I loved that you told me that on the phone, that you were like, I think he had a Steve Harvey moment, dude. Like, I think he had a Steve Harvey moment.
But no, that wasn't the case. So Sekiro Shadows Die Twice won Game of the Year.
It's a beautiful game.
So it's a beautiful.
I'll
give it that. It's a beautiful game, and people who played it loved it. But it just blows my mind. Like,
it doesn't make sense that it got Game of the Year.
I could see it winning.
I looked it up, and there's nothing about it that looks like it should have been.
It's made by From Software, if I remember correctly, which is the same company that did like Bloodborne and Dark Souls. So it's that type of combat where it's very, very punishing. Like, basically, imagine you're sitting in your living room playing a video game. You're playing Sekiro, and basically it's the equivalent of like every time you're in a boss battle with any anyone, not even a boss battle. Whenever you're in combat fighting something, you have a brick wall sitting next to your couch and you're just bashing your head against it. Like that's what the gameplay's like. It's supposed to be punishing, and it's like whenever you make a mistake, it's because of you. Like it's not like the game is hard, but it's one of those things where like, yeah, you just have to be superhuman to beat the game basically.
There's nothing that sounds appeasing about that.
Yeah, it does not sound like it sounds like, oh, it'd be fun for like an hour maybe, and then you'd move on. But
right.
So I don't know. It's one of those things where based off of reviews I read and different things that people had to say, I could have easily seen that winning like best action adventure game or something like that. But game of the year, like above Resident Evil 2 and Death Stranding and heck, what else was there? There was Sekiro, there was Outer Worlds, there was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like there was a lot of good games in that category. And Sekiro, I think that was probably like second or third from the bottom for me. Like I said, there was like 2 or 3 above it that I think should have won before Sekiro. So again, like if you love Sekiro, like I know everyone that has different. I don't know. I guess I'm not so much upset that it won because obviously it deserved it. Like obviously a lot of people liked it. It's great because a lot of it is decided on by some
people who are more important than us.
Well, there's I think 90% of the vote was judges that they pick, and there's like 100 some or 200 some judges over the whole world that they pick, and then 10% of the vote is, you know, as a list or as, you know, viewers of the Game Awards. The previous 2 weeks before the show, you could have gone to GameAwards.com and you could have all voted. I voted. I know you could go every day and vote, and 10% of the vote went towards that. So obviously people like the game because it won. I think more is just like I felt like Game of the Year. I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting words to it. I feel like Game of the Year means something like there's more, should be more meaning to it, to like even like how, even like the effect that it had in the social spheres and stuff. Like when Sekiro came out, I don't even remember barely hearing about it. I remember hearing people like, yeah, it's a good game. And then I heard a lot of people like moving on. Like they're just like, so it was fun while it lasted, and then they left. Where
do you think part of the Game of the Year award should go to hype or people's like overall talking about the game?
Yeah, I think that should, because
that it should factor in to the ultimate decision of who wins Game of the Year.
Right.
Like, okay, look at this game.
I think it should. I think it very much should, because it's not saying like it's not called the best game of the year. It's just called Game of the Year. Sure. So I almost feel like it should be the game that like, okay, what is the game that kind of encapsulates in, like, if when you look back at 2019, what's the first game that comes to your mind when you think of 2019?
Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 or like Death Stranding. Like those two games I feel like I
feel like Resident Evil 2 is such an incredible game, and I think that probably the only reason that it didn't win is because it's a remaster of another game, of an older game.
Basically a new game.
No, but I think that's
so much.
I think that's a strike against it. I think that's that it's not a new
right.
story. It's not,
I listen to a lot of other podcasts where they argued about that. They're like, oh, okay. I don't think it should win because it's blah, blah. So you're right. That was an argument, but in my head, it's like, so what? It's like, it's practically a new game. There's so much good new stuff in there that they did, but
it's totally a new game. It has the wishbone of the original story, but it's different.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was one of those things where it was like, I was a little disappointed. Obviously, like, I'm really happy for the team that made the game, and like, I guess, like, I'm not gonna say it didn't deserve it because I didn't play it either. That's the other thing. I have not played it, and to be honest, after it winning Game of the Year, I immediately went online and was like trying to see if it's on sale anywhere because I want to try it now. Like, if it won freaking Game of the Year, it's gotta be good.
Gotta be, right?
Is this weird that when it came out, like, there just wasn't the hype, there wasn't the talk, even leading up to it, there wasn't, afterwards there wasn't, and yeah, I think Game of the Year should encapsulate more like, oh, what is the first game, like that you think of when. Yeah, that
made you have feelings, or that made you, know, that
like
you
when someone says favorite game from 2019,
right?
Not even the favorite game. Yeah, someone's just like, give me a game from 2019. Like the first game you're gonna name is like, that should be the one that's Game of the Year. Like, I can't think of very many. I don't know very many people, and I haven't heard even through podcasts and YouTube channels of very many people who would say that for Sekiro. So
last year, I would have said Red Dead Redemption 2. Whereas a lot of you guys would have said God of War,
which Red Dead was a like very close. Red Dead was a very close follow up, like runner up though. Like, it was close last year. Mm-hmm. Like you could definitely tell the way discussions were going. But
Well,
it is what it is.
so there was a lot of news stories. I don't know if we have any other traditional news stories, but I know that there was something that happened in this world. The world like cracked open, dude. There was what some would call an event.
That's a very basic way of putting it, but yeah, there was an event, a generic event.
Yeah.
And to talk about that event, we are going to bring on our premier Fortnite expert.
My boy, my progeny, the fruit of my loins, my son Lee. Yeah, that was pretty good, huh?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like
Alrighty.
that. Okay, so how do we do this, man? Do we just like snap a finger and he's here, or like do we?
Yeah. So the next time you snap, he'll be here. Ready?
I was just in my kitchen.
Hey,
Get some Cheeto Puffs.
Cheeto Puffs.
Oh,
Okay.
dang.
First of all, you threw me because I know Mom would never let us have Cheeto Puffs ever in our house.
Okay, fine. I was trying to sneak the marshmallows from Deanna's room.
He was trying to sneak marshmallows into his sister's room.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the resident Fortnite expert. If you have not already seen him on the show, this is Lee Purdom. He is my son. Yes, it's like a younger, better-looking version of me. I know. So, Lee, we were just talking about there was something that happened that the world cracked open just this past week, and that there was an event on Fortnite. So, what type of an event was it?
STAR Wars.
Okay.
Star Wars? Okay, crazy. So, what happened at this event? I know I was watching it with you, but for those of us who haven't seen the Fortnite event, can you describe what happened? So...
There were the TIE fighter ships that got shot down. They got shot down from the other airship that I can't remember the name of.
Oh, the good guy ship, Garrett. I don't watch the Star Wars.
Millennium Falcon.
Millennium Falcon.
There we go.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the Millennium Falcon. I was just gonna say that they shot down the TIE fighter. No, I was gonna say that. So they shot down the TIE fighters, right?
Uh-huh.
And so there was that big event. So then they showed a trailer for the movie, right? For the new movie that Star Wars is coming out, and it's got you hyped. So what were some of the new things that are implemented in the game because of did you get like free stuff?
There are literally like Star Wars.
You're supposed to get a free glider.
You got a free glider.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, well, I just said, did you get the free stuff?
There are now Star Wars bots. There are literally bots that are dressed up in the suit.
Oh, the stormtroopers?
Yep.
Did you buy the new skin of the Stormtrooper suit?
No.
You need to.
I know.
Dad. The red one.
I
The
would
red
appreciate if you
Stormtrooper.
stop with that.
The Sith Trooper. He needs a Sith
He
Trooper.
needs a Sith trooper.
Yes, I do.
So,
Or the fin skin.
so what I understood is there was several areas of the map where these TIE fighters went
scratch.
down. So there's stormtrooper bots where you can go and fight little enclaves of stormtroopers on different parts of the map, right?
Even better, there are lightsabers.
Oh my gosh, there
Okay.
are lightsabers.
Plus the gun that the stormtroopers use that actually has horrible aim, so you're like a real stormtrooper if you're the white version or the Sith.
There you
Or
go.
the Sith.
I don't believe you can call them white. I think that's racist.
No.
I'm not being racist against stormtroopers. Don't sue us.
Okay, don't sue it. Oh no.
Do I
Okay.
need to download this game just so I can play with a lightsaber?
Yes.
You know, here's the funny thing. I have the Star Wars Fallen Order game. I've been playing it a lot, right? I think it's awesome. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
you guys
I'm
are
gonna
holding out. You
Star
guys are
Wars.
you guys got the Star Wars on lockdown, and we were suffering.
I'm telling you, I told him, hey, do you want to play Star Wars? You got Star Wars right here. And he doesn't care that they have lightsabers in that game because it's not Fortnite.
There are 4 different lightsabers: Luke's, Rey's, Mace's, and my favorite,
Aren't they just like different colors?
Kylo Ren.
They're just different
Technically,
colors, right?
Plus, there's the different ones.
technically, Luke and Rey's lightsabers is the same lightsaber.
There's green and there's blue. Blue is Rey, and green is Luke.
Technically, the blue one was Luke's at 1.2. Did you know that?
Okay, technically for the
My
only
favorite-
non-nerd
In
sitting here in the show.
In episode 4 and
My
5,
favorite is Kylo Ren.
He had a blue lightsaber.
Oh my gosh, did you folks just see Garrett like straight shame my child for not having He's like, okay.
Take that, kid.
First of all, listen here, dude. Yeah, he kind of runs with blue. That's azul in Espanol. Okay, and it's amarillo for Yoda or whatever.
What the heck? Kylo Ren's is red.
Oh, I don't have any idea, son. I don't know. So you get to play with lightsabers. You get to play with lightsabers now. There's TIE fighters, and this is going on for how much longer? How much longer is this event supposed to?
After today, 6 more days.
And then is it the new like season or something?
No, it's like
Just
get
an
rid
event.
of all the stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
So you better get those skins soon.
Let's-
I got rid of the
Okay,
other stuff.
things are getting crazy. Things are happening here too fastly. We gotta end this
Okay,
because it's
snap your fingers.
dude. It's been nice. Lee Purdom, Resident Fortnite. Say goodbye to the. All right.
Oh gosh, man.
Oh, he is costing me like ridiculous amounts of money, dude.
I
Stop
know.
encouraging
I know.
him with the-
I like how I just kept pushing that.
Yeah. I'm thinking Uncle Garrett might need to get him some Fortnite skins or something. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't have any money either. Just me.
I could tell him to start calling you Uncle Garrett if that makes any difference on
I don't care what he calls me.
your heart box. No.
That doesn't bother me one bit. What he calls me. Okay, well, let's get into some new releases here. Just a couple. Detroit Become Human is coming to PC on December 12th. Untitled Goose Game came to PlayStation 4 on December 17th, and Watam came to PlayStation 4 and PC on December 17th.
Okay, you asked me last week what's the most recent game that I've beaten. Detroit Become Human. Boom! I just dropped the mic. Well, I didn't drop it because it's actually connected to an arm, and it's connected to the table. But
Don't slam it against the table. If you slam that,
no,
you're buying a new one.
I don't want to damage it. I don't have any money. But yeah, I remembered.
Yeah, okay, but
Yes!
that's like you can beat that in like 4 hours in an afternoon. Like it's basically just watching a movie. That's not a game.
No, that took me months of playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never get to play.
Well, I don't know. I won't give it to you. I'm sorry. You have to try better. Try harder, JJ.
All right.
Try harder.
Yeah.
So, what you been playing?
I've been playing a lot more Star Wars. The Star Wars Fallen Order, I just started getting into the wider universe, traveling to other worlds.
Have you finally got to another planet?
Yeah, no, I've been to a couple of different
Okay,
planets.
cool. Because last time I talked to you, I just haven't talked to you in a while
It's been a
about it.
while.
So I was like, last time I talked to you, you're like, well, I'm still on the first one. I'm like, dude,
No, it's-
there's like so much to this game.
No, and traveling to other planets is fantastic. Getting in the ship and traveling is wonderful. It's so much fun getting to see all this really cool stuff. It's a lot harder than you'd think. Usually when you crack open whatever you're getting stuck on, I'll get stuck in sections. And then eventually when you figure it out, you're like, oh my gosh, why did I never see this? Or,
Yeah.
It's like that constantly with this game. It's a great game. The other thing that I've been playing is I've been playing Outlast 2. So Outlast 2...
that game's freaky.
It is absolutely terrifying. So, and I'll use that word because that's what my son used. So Lee walked into the room.
Oh, no.
And he saw me. I just put it on, and it's first person. You're walking down a hallway. A locker slowly opens. So it's extremely scary. And then all of a sudden you're hearing whispering. You're trying to hide. I let him play for 2 or 3 minutes, just walking up to a
You're gonna
barn.
give him nightmares for the rest
And
of his
he
life.
literally said, I can't play anymore. It's terrifying.
It scared me to death.
Well, no, he didn't see anything. It was just music. It was just dark. And it was like, it's just the ambience of like, I got trees all around you and like you can't see anything. And it's absolutely terrifying. And that's the words he's like, it's absolutely terrifying. I'm like,
Yeah.
it is absolutely terrifying. Like I played it in front of my wife last
getting chased
night.
by people is like so scary
It's so
you don't have any
scary.
weapons. You don't have any. The whole thing is like all you have is a camcorder that you use for night vision. You hit a button and then you can see in the dark. But it only has so much battery, so you got to use it sparingly so you don't run out of batteries.
Right.
It's
And
like,
they catch you and put you down, and it is terrifying. And so I played a little bit. I played a little bit in front of my wife last night, and she watched me. And I played. I turned all the lights off, and she was sitting on her phone. And I played for maybe 10 minutes, and I turned it off. And she's like, "What's the deal?" And I was like, "That's too scary. I can't deal with it right now."
Can't do
And
it.
she's like, "Are you serious? You're too scared to play that video game?" And I looked her dead in the eye. Yes, I am.
Yep.
I'm like, I just can't do it right now. It's a little too much.
So I was watching my brother-in-law play it. Well, he was on my computer doing remote play when I was down in San Diego, and I was watching him. I wasn't even playing it myself. I was watching him, and it was the middle of the day, like daylight outside. I'm just like, holy crap, this is so tense, so scary. This is way too crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm touching that game. Like, it's so crazy. So that's a good one.
Yeah, it's very good. So I've been having a lot more game time than I have had in a long time. Lately has been pretty great. Being able to get some playtime in.
I like all the comments people are writing on the the picture of you on the motorcycle on Instagram. Someone was like, "Finally, JJ played his first game in forever," and someone else is like, "Yeah, but he probably didn't beat it."
It hurts.
It's
It's
so
true
good.
though. It's true.
Like people are just making fun of you left and right.
Nah, I love
Your
it.
short little arms.
I do get little T-Rex arms. It's true. It's true. It's true.
I pretty much just played Death Stranding. I am so addicted to it. I'm getting to the point now where I've like done so many side quests and upgraded so much. There's not much more side stuff I can do. So it's just like I've just been playing through the main story, like boom, 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 getting all these big story beats, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. Like this is why I love this game. Like, all the side stuff has been a lot of fun. But now it's like, okay, I've upgraded everything as much as I can. So now I'm just doing main story stuff. And I'm like, now I'm getting all the good story and the cutscenes and characters. And
What about Mads
much fun.
Mikkelsen? What's your thought?
I'm trying to remember what I shared last week. I think last week I just shared I just encountered him.
You just met him. Yeah.
I gave it, I think I told everything I could as much as I think I said as much as I could last week because I don't want to spoil the game for people.
Of course.
But the interaction was awesome. The performance in that little bit that I played with him was awesome. And there's already been like some more couple cutscenes, like no more for like one-on-one interactions with him, but like you have these weird memories through the BB's perspective of possibly a previous life or something. Like that's you don't really know what's going on. Every time you plug into the BB, sometimes you get these weird dreams or visions from the BB's perspective, and it's like, oh, is this like from a prior life of the BB, or is this like a vision of the future even, or what is this? So I've seen a few more of those, and it's like, oh, his performance every time is so stinking good. And he actually won Best Performance at the Game Awards, so that was well deserved, even just a little bit of them that I've seen. But yeah, that game is so stinking good. I can't get over it. I'm just starting to get to a point where they're starting to introduce like real guns now. Up until now, there hasn't been really weapons. Like you don't really fight things or shoot things. You have some guns, but they're like they shot like blood bullets because I've talked about in an earlier episode, your bodily fluids like blood and your shower water and you go pee and poop, like they use all that and make grenades and bullets and weapons out of it and stuff. That's how you kill the ghost. Like the ghosts are affected by your blood because you have some disease.
I'm gonna throw a pee-pee water balloon at you, kill you. Hey, look at that, and I took that demon out with a pee-pee water balloon. It sounds so bad.
It sounds crazy.
Look here, I put it in a plastic bag, I put a big old dookie in that thing, and I threw it at that ghost, and I lit her on fire. Threw a big old flaming bag of poo at that thing. Look at that old flaming poo.
So it's not everyone's pee and poop. It's just Norman Reedus' Sam.
Oh, it's just his poo.
He has some special disease or something that causes his blood to be special, and for some reason...
This game sounds weirder and weirder.
So I had this gun where basically like every bullet you shot, it actually like drains blood from a blood bag that you carry around, and it like infuses the bullets with blood, so then it actually will kill BTs. It kills the ghost. Anyways, I just unlocked like a real assault rifle and a real handgun, like to actually kill people. And I'm just like,
Did you encounter
Yeah, you encounter a lot of people in the world, like they're called mules. They were previously porters just like you, but just they were kind of driven mad by being out in the wilderness for so long and living in this post-apocalyptic world to the point where they're like barely sane. They're kind of like crazy. Like they will work together and team up. There's big camps of mules, they call them. But they basically their only goal in life is to steal people's packages. Like it's like think of like Gollum from The Lord of the Rings, like my precious. Like they need the package. They got to steal. So like if you go through their territory, they have the scanner set up and they can detect that you're there and they'll come swarm and try to find us. So you have to like hide and avoid them. But the only thing I'm curious about is like, okay, they just introduced these guns that I can kill people with. But if you kill someone, as I've mentioned again on an earlier podcast, it basically like turns people into atomic bombs. If you kill someone, you only have so much time before they explode. Like basically it turns people into ticking time bombs. And if you don't get away from it fast enough, you die. Everything blows up. Everything. Like if you kill someone near a city, that whole city will be gone. So it's like, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it's an option now. I can technically go and kill a bunch of people and blow up a freaking like half of the map, I guess. But
maybe that's part of it is like not destroying everything, to save yourself.
No, I mean that is the point. You're not supposed to kill them, but it just seems weird that they'd give me the weapons if I'm not supposed to use them. Like, what? I'm just curious what the next thing. Okay, why are they giving these to me now? Like,
free
what?
will. Use your choice.
I guess so, but I don't like that. Like, who's going around blowing up the world with these?
We are as human beings.
I guess
all
so.
the time.
I guess you're right.
Hideo Kojima, you're a genius, good sir.
He is a genius,
and he also listens to the show.
I wish, man. I'd pee my pants right now if I knew that as for a true fact. Like,
I love the fanboy in you, Garrett.
I would be so excited to find that out. I'd lose my mind. But yeah, lots of Death Stranding. I'm really enjoying it. I just got to a cool part in the story. I saw my first snow. I got up in the mountains, seeing some snow. Because you saw that in the trailers. I'm like, oh, it looks so crazy, like hiking over a mountain. So I just went over my first mountain. It was rough. It was real hard. It's a lot harder than you'd think. But yeah, Death Stranding is A+.
Very cool.
Alrighty, well, guys, we have a question of the show here. This comes from Derek. He wrote in on Instagram, and he said, hey, guys, since Garrett is on the racing game kick, remember a couple weeks ago when I saw Ford versus Ferrari, I got Gran Turismo. I did play a lot of Gran Turismo. Definitely plan on going back. It says, I was wondering if you could take any TV show or movie and make one of those silly spin-off kart games, which series of characters would you choose and why?
I actually really like the kart games a lot, and I like the aspect of having the characters from a TV show or a movie in the kart racer. I would say it would be kind of cool if we had the Simpsons kart racer. See, that'd be really fun. Picking one of the Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, Maggie, Grandpa Abe. Yeah,
that would fit really well just with a cartoony aesthetic. Like it would fit really super well.
That's kind of the thought. I was just thinking, like, stick with that cartoony look. Something like that would be a lot of fun. I couldn't see characters like Red Dead Redemption doing it or anything,
Yeah, I know this isn't like, I know you guys all hate it when I do when I Google stuff on the air, but I just want to make sure this wasn't a crazy fever dream I had. Make sure this was a real thing.
He's gonna tell you he would like to see Metal Gear Solid, the kart racer game.
Okay, no. So, well, the reason because I was gonna say something, and I'm like, you know what? I think there was already a kart racer, and you know what? There was
for Metal Gear Solid.
No.
Oh,
so I was going to say it'd be cool to have a Star Wars one. Why not? But then I was like, wait, I think there was one. And sure enough, I just Googled it. And now that I see it, I remember it. It was one of my, this is going to sound crazy, this was my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. You have to remember I was a child. This is from 2001, so I was in 3rd grade. It's called Star Wars Super Bombad Racing. And it was literally, it was a kart racer where... where basically all the characters from like Star Wars Episode 1, you raced each other in it. But I think the best part is like they had this weird aesthetic strange design choice where all the karts, like basically you would fly in like Darth Maul, this is on the front cover. He's flying in Darth Maul's ship from Episode 1, but it's not full size. It's like shrunk down to the size of like a go-kart. and then Darth Maul is sitting inside of it somehow. And he has a ginormous head. Like all the characters have big heads.
Oh yeah, that
like,
was another aesthetic.
They have like little tiny carts and little tiny bodies, but then ginormous heads. So it looks like these big bobbleheads flying around. But it's all Star Wars. So my answer was gonna be Star Wars, and then I was like, did I dream that? You know, because sometimes, especially something like this, like you're kind of looking at some of the pictures here, you think like, was that just something I had in some strange like fever dream or something? Like I was real sick with I was like near death experience, and I have this strange dream, and that feels way too real.
So this is your favorite game from when you were my son's age.
This is in fact an actual game, so I did not imagine it. I love how on the front cover they have Darth Maul, Jar Jar Binks, and Yoda. And Yoda is just simply sitting in his chair from the Jedi Temple. So anyways, that was going to be my answer, but it's not now. So now I got to think of one on the fly.
Oh, nice.
I would like a Stranger Things kart racer.
Nice.
Because I think they could do a really cool, obviously the whole 80s aesthetic. Get like the DeLorean in there.
That would be amazing.
And like all sorts of just like cool like cars from the 80s and stuff that they're all riding around. It wouldn't make sense because the kids are like 12. But but neither does Star Wars Super Bombad Racing.
No, it does not.
So yeah, I think, or even if they're just on their bicycles or something, but they're like super powered bicycles. They're for flying around and stuff like that. Have like make it very cartoony. Where like, oh, there's the oh shoot, why can't I remember the name of the freaking creature from Stranger Things? The Demigorgon.
The Demigorgon, yes.
Yeah, I have one like a cartoony version of those, and it's like riding around, and I don't know what, like have Billy in there, and Billy's riding this cool like what was he, a Mustang or whatever he has. It's all zooped up, and yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. And I like awesome. Have tracks from like different places from the show, like from season 3, like in the shopping mall. You're going around the shopping mall and stuff with all like the neon everywhere and like 80s music. That would be the best part of the game. Is the soundtrack. It would have like the craziest, awesome soundtrack ever. I love 80s like music, so I think it'd be pretty sweet.
80s was great.
There you go, Stranger Things kart racer. Sign me up.
Right.
Alrighty, that's all I have.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
It's been one of those weeks, guys. We survived. We made it.
We made it.
So we'll live to tell the tale next week. So you could always help us to get to next week by supporting us on Patreon, like some of our awesome friends.
Yeah.
Julie Grammy Bates and Bill Luscious Bird. I think that's
Bill Luscious.
I think Luscious is his nickname.
Okay. Yeah. You can go over to not Super Gamer Boys, patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. Remember, if you want to support us by getting some sweet merch, you can go over to supergamerboys.com/store.
You could even mince pie with it when you're consuming.
That's what they do in Wales.
Yeah.
You know what they say when in Wales.
Act like the Wales people do. Welsh.
The Wales people. You're talking like me now. Also, if you could rate and review us, that would help us so much. Go over to Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review there. 5 stars would be fantastic.
6 stars if they'll let you. And another thing that would be really, really helpful for us is if you guys could help, honestly, just share the show with friends. Share it with people. It helps a lot.
Oh, 100%.
Just a simple Twitter retweet.
I want you all to stop right now and either go to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and share whatever post that we put up, or simply, send a link to our podcast to your friend, like right now. Like, think of your first friend who's not listening to our podcast and just text it to him. No context, just send it to him.
Yep.
And just say listen.
Listen. In your ear holes.
I'll give you a second.
Are you doing it right now?
Yeah, they're done. Okay,
great. Yeah, just tell it to your friends, share it with people. Honestly, if you just shared it with a handful of people, hey, I listened to this podcast. These guys are idiots. Garrett's smart. JJ's whatever. It'll help so much just to get the word out there, so more people end up listening to our podcast. Then we can make more cashola, because Garrett has a horrible problem with blowing hookers, and so we can only afford that with your loving support on Patreon. God bless you.
Oh my gosh. You can find us during the week over at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys, Facebook.com/SuperGamerBoys. I said that word really weird. I morphed I am on all in one. So
we're watching him really closely. He's on medication right now, folks.
Yeah. I am on
Twitter
at gmorlang.
You notice he had to slow it down.
I am on Twitter at gmorlang.
I am also on Twitter at gmorlang.
Yep.
I'm on Twitter at JJPurdom. I'm there all the time.
Thank you so much to Star Andrews for our logo. Check her out on Instagram at Ground Floor Graphics. I don't know what I wrote here. It's a typo. And Facebook.com/Ground Floor Graphics. Go check her out. Man, my speech thing in my brain isn't doing good stuff.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and shut this thing down because he's got to hit the old bong right now. He just started smoking it recently because it is illegal here in the United States of America.
It is.
And in California.
Legal, not illegal.
I said it is legal.
Yeah.
Completely disabled. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us once again right here on the Super Gamer Boys. He is Garrett Morlang. I am JJ Purdom. We are the Super Gamer Boys.
I'll catch y'all on the flippity flop.